Oh yeah, it's
Save money
been
on a
pretty
casket.
horrific. I don't know how Putin's gonna get out of his thing. He's backed himself into a corner. He
Has
has
anything
like
happened like progress wise, like on the lines, like the battle lines? Because like you see
oh
like the
yeah,
areas the
oh
Russians have moved
absolutely.
to.
All
Have
right, so
they
here,
have they got a lot more?
so broadly speaking, here's the situation. Whenever you see that, like, oh, the Russians have taken this big red blob and they move the
Hmm.
blob in closer, that's bullshit. Because the Russians can't drive on anything that isn't road unless they're in the south where it's dry and arid. Everything up around the capital in the north is like bogged the fuck down. And
Mm,
those vehicles, like, it's hard to imagine how much they weigh. Like a car weighs like
ton.
5,000 pounds, I think, like roughly. Like
Hmm.
cars are like 5,000 pounds. Those tanks are like 25 tons? Don't 20,000 tons? I think they're 25,000 tons. They're gigantic. They're thousands of pounds, and they
Jesus,
just, like, sink down to nothing in the mud. And, one of the things I saw the
they didn't
Ukrainians
plan
did is
this out very well.
they released a reservoir and, like, flooded this huge area of, like, farmland out, south of Kiev or Kyiv, and, so but the tanks are just on the roads in lines, and then they can't get fuel to the tanks. The fuel trucks all have flat tires because the rubber was dry rotted. And of
Yeah, you
course,
told
the
me about
whole
that.
time,
They're
like,
shitty Chinese tires.
they're shitty Chinese tires, and they're using a mixture of like drones and guerrilla tactics to just continuously pick at the long convoys that are just stopped in the road.
Yeah.
And tonight, or like, I don't know what time it is in Ukraine. It's probably getting toward the middle of the night by now. But it's, I think, negative 20 Celsius, whatever that is.
Oh my
And,
god.
and they can't run their
Is that a,
tanks and
is that a real temperature?
they can't run their tanks and stuff to stay warm because they don't have fuel. And the inside of a tank is like a heat sink. It's just sucking all the heat away from you. Like you
Oh, it's
can't
like
like build
-4.
up any heat like you could in a tent or something like that. So they could legitimately be Russians freezing to death tonight.
Yeah, -4 Fahrenheit. They could absolutely freeze to death.
I listened to captured phone calls from the Russians. That's how they're being so accurate, by the way. The Russians don't have field communications that are
Mhm.
effective. So they either get listened in on or they get their cell phones GPS tracked and shot because they have artillery that can just aim at a
Mhm.
GPS and shoot it. But they were playing the Russian soldiers talking about looting and how they had. He's like, I got a mink coat for you and an Arctic fox for little Mika, and yeah, fuck the and the wife back home was like, yeah, fuck those drug addicts and Nazis, steal it all. And he was like, "Yeah, I shot a car up today." She's like, "Did you?" He's like, "Yeah, I killed them all." Like, "Good, get them all." And then the one guy was just like, "Yeah, we captured a few of them and we tied them up and searched them, and we had to decide if we're going to let them go because they might tell people where we were. So we just shot them all in the head." And
Jesus
just,
Christ.
and they're just like laughing about it, and it's real maniacal
Yeah,
stuff.
that's pretty dark.
Talking about the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I got a new ratchet. It's in the box." Like they're just talking about looting, like and stealing, like all sorts.
Yeah.
And the wife or whatever is
Just
like,
effectively pillaging
yeah,
Kiev or
the wife
yeah, whatever city it is.
just the wherever they are. The wife is like, "They let you do that?" She's like, "Oh yes, they got things of their own." It's just like, oh, okay, Jesus Christ, they're just
Things
sweet.
of their own? What do you mean?
Yeah, like the higher ups have stolen things of their own. You know,
Oh, okay.
like everybody's looting
Oh,
because
yeah. I
his
mean,
wife.
it's a war. Everybody's stealing everything that's not nailed down.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. But I'm seeing a lot of Russians dying, so that's pretty cool.
But
I
it
watched.
doesn't look you don't think it's gonna end anytime soon? Hopefully it does.
No,
I
no,
think
no,
I'm maybe having a fit of wishful thinking, but I'm hoping they come to an agreement to
no.
calm it down
Um,
and stop the
one thing
violence
that's
soon.
interesting, one thing that I would have said 0%, but now I would say like maybe sometime soon because Putin has already backed down a little. You know, originally his
Mm,
deal was
that's good.
his deal was like we're going to take over Ukraine. We've got to denazify Ukraine. All of these regions are ours. All of Ukraine is ours, and you know the leadership has to go. And now it's okay. You keep Ukraine, we take Crimea and those other two regions, and let us elect like a some sort of a secondary leader
Yeah.
who is a Russian, and agree not to join NATO. So like already he's like loosened up quite a bit. But Zelensky, I don't think is open to that because you know his cities are in rubble and there's
Mhm.
tens of thousands of people dead or dying. The Russian number of casualties, depending on who you believe, is definitely in the thousands already. The Russians have admitted, but the Ukrainians seem to think it's over 10,000 dead
Really?
Russians. Yeah,
Who knows what to believe on total number of dead
Putin
Russians?
Putin originally said, they asked him the question about conscripts, which I believe is when you just force somebody up into the military and send them in.
Yeah.
And he was like, absolutely not. We don't use conscripts. It's against the law. And then like a day later, he came out and he's like, actually, we were using conscripts. Those generals will be punished severely. and they were. They fired like 7 or 8 generals like the next day. Where of course
I did not know that.
So now they've literally admitted. So those guys who are like, we thought we were on a training exercise. I don't even have clean underwear. It's like, I think that it was like that scene.
They just sent a bunch of young kids in there unknowingly.
They're like in America, our reservists like have like jobs and they're technicians and stuff, and like they know their shit. This was like not even reservists. These guys were like, dude, I'm a fucking accountant. I don't know what the fuck's up. Like I don't know what the fuck is this thing. Like they don't know what they're doing.
Jesus Christ, that's
there
fucked
was
up.
one unit. The best thing I saw was there was this unit in a barn, and they were interviewing these guys in a barn. They were like, our commanders told us we have to sign this piece of paper that says that we were all fired from the army 2 months ago. So that way, our presence here is not Russian military presence. I guess we just wandered here without food or sleeping bags to live in this barn. They left us. And it was just like, that is so fucking hilarious.
Doesn't seem like the Russian army has much care for the lives of their soldiers.
I'll tell you what.
Or apparently what you're saying, they're not even soldiers. They just seized some guy who worked at the bank and was like, hey, guess what? You get to go on a fun training exercise. When you see fucking Kiev in 2 miles, it's a mistake.
It's so clear that Putin wanted to be viewed as like big, strong, and influential on the world stage. And he has done like, he's ruined himself and his country. Like this is not go. I occasionally see someone like, maybe he's playing 2D chess here, and it's like, you're the same person. You're the same person who always like is like, no, Donald Trump doesn't have any plans. But suddenly Putin is a mastermind. No, Putin is fucked. There's no way he wanted the ruble to be worth 0.7 pennies each. There's no way he wanted like all of these firms and major companies. I saw a video inside of a Russian mall today. Now, granted, you're probably thinking like, show me a video in an American mall. But I think Russian malls are more trafficked than our malls are. I think they're like 15 years behind us.
Yeah.
You know, on that curve. And everything's closed. The shutters are down and everything. You couldn't buy anything. I saw a guy who like cleaned out a McDonald's and froze it all because there's no more McDonald's there. But Russia, Putin said this, and if they go through with this, I haven't been watching the news. He's basically saying let's start another Cold War and just go for a generation. I think he was talking about privatizing all of the assets from these companies who are supposedly pulling out,
nationalizing them.
Yeah, nationalizing them and keeping them. He's like, oh, you don't want to run a McDonald's here? Well, the place is going to open up tomorrow, and they're going to be selling Big Macs. Wait, well, you can't do that. Yeah, you can. We own that now. No, we own that.
Oh, I can't use McDonald's? I just invaded Ukraine. You think anybody's going to be talking about the fucking burger restaurant?
They're saying that they may relax trademark and copyright laws so that they can just steal, software they need, steal trademarks that they want to continue using. I don't know.
So McDonald's goes, we're removing all of our stores, and he's like, then we will put more people in there and put more beef in there and make burgers.
Yeah, I think they'll just like make it a McDowell's or something, and just serve some Russian beef. I don't know what the fucking plan is with literally a McDonald's, but so much of their stuff is closed that I think that it's gotten the general population to start talking about it to the point where like maybe they'll figure out what's going on. I still seen plenty of people who don't care, or are happy about it. They're like, yeah, get them,
like Russians.
Yeah. You'll be like
where do you see that? I've
read it.
Oh, okay. I don't. Where? Which
well, it's
pro Russia r/pro Russia.
No, well, there's Russia phobia. There's that subreddit, and it's all people like look at I'm 14 and I'm in like Switzerland and I'm getting bullied for being Russian. And everybody's like, oh my God, can you imagine? Like just melting down and stuff and like, making it propaganda and stuff mostly. There's plenty of that. And
Jeez.
I've seen like mainstream media go in Russia, in St. Petersburg or Moscow or whatever, be like pull out an iPad and like here's what's happening in Ukraine, and either they won't look at it or they'll be like, yeah, that's propaganda. I'm a Putin man through and through. Whatever he wants to do, that's what I want to do. They literally say stuff like that. So it can be really disheartening when you realize that even if you were to win sort of the information war, that maybe they wouldn't care what they heard or saw.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel so awful when I see those fucking kids dead. Dude, they're out of fucking trucks. The Russians are. They're requisitioning all the dump trucks in Russia and sending them to the front because all their trucks have rotted tires. So the only way to get food and weapons, ammunition, stuff like that to the front is with like a dump truck they stole from a farmer or a brick
insane.
mason.
I always pictured Russia would have a glut of trucks, like
They
more
did.
than they would need. Oh yeah, they did have a glut of trucks, and now they have a bog of trucks.
Yeah, and the fun part is because like everybody keeps talking about that convoy. What I've heard people say and what I believe, that convoy's stuck. And I don't think like, oh, the truck in the front broke down and now they can't go forward. Think like every fifth truck won't start now.
Mm-hmm.
And like how do you turn around
How do you
and
navigate
go back?
that? Yeah.
How do you get back? Because you can't go off road at all or you're immediately stuck, right?
If it goes like tits up for them and they full on lose, they're just going to have to abandon shitloads of armor, right? And just hand it to Ukraine.
They're
basically
losing so many tanks because, like I said, I'm telling you, if you guys go to the combat footage subreddit, the Ukraine conflict subreddit, the Ukraine video report subreddit, you'll see so much footage of various like anti-tank weapon systems being used to like knock out armor over there, and not just like tanks. Like I'm starting to learn a little bit about Russian vehicles, unfortunately, but like not just main battle tanks, but anything with wheels, they'll shoot a rocket at because there's people in them, and it's got to be so demoralizing. They referred to it as a tank battalion, and I counted it looked like about 25 big tanks were like in a city square parked with Russians walking around, and they start hitting it with artillery fire, like big explosions and stuff, and all the Russians have to run and jump in their tanks and drive away as the artillery fire continues to fall upon them. And then they announced today that the battalion commander was one of the tanks that got hit, and he's dead now. And they every other day they're mentioning like a general or something is dying.
And it seems like from what you said, a lot of them are getting fired as well.
I think they fired like a whole swarm of them today or yesterday, maybe by now. It's definitely going.
You know
bad.
what? It's like
it's as funny as it is. It's scary too because it really backs Putin into a corner. If he had like, globally speaking, I think if he had just gone in and captured Kiev and it was over now, like the world is in a safer place. Maybe not long term, maybe 70 years from now we have some serious issues because of it, but like because he's looking like a fool right now and he's looking weak and foolish, he's getting backed into a corner. It'd be so scary if he used a nuclear weapon or he did something
it's a very dangerous country to back into a corner.
There's some red lines in place that aren't, everybody wants us to no-fly zone because they're idiots. Like I don't think anybody
hoping for World War III.
I don't think anybody like older than 25 wants a no-fly zone.
Dude, I saw some fucking retarded like Republican representative clip today where someone asked her like, should we have a no-fly zone in Ukraine? She's like, yes, we should. And they're like, so you would approve of us shooting down Russian planes? Of course. It's like, what the fuck? What is wrong with you? You should like you to be dumber on this than us. Like, come on, no, you got to get out of there. Like, if normal people are like, we don't want World War III, and this is like one stupid lady. You know, I'm not saying there's huge. People,
but I think there are people who just like
the neocons want it.
When I grew up, we talked a lot about nuclear war and like how bad it would be. Like all of our scary, like most of our scary movies had nuclear war in it. There was a lot of movies about, the threat of nuclear war. It was maybe we haven't done that in a long time, and like 20-year-olds or 15-year-olds or whatever don't fucking know. It's the end. It's over if that happens. Like, it doesn't matter if a few of us live in pockets. I'm not saying it's going to turn out into like Fallout. It's not going to turn into a sci-fi movie, but like this little trajectory that humanity's been on, where every year the iPhone gets a little bit better, that ends, and it doesn't come back for our lifetimes. It won't come back, or yours, or your grandchildren's. But what are we on, iPhone 12 or something?
Yeah.
You will not see an iPhone 13 if this happens. Okay. Like, and that's the least of your problems. Like I'm just trying to.
Like, I feel
trying to say is like,
yeah,
we're kind of done as like right now. Every year things get better. Like
we're kind of done with that. Yeah.
We're done with things getting better as a species for a long time.
Worse again.
Things will get worse for a long time, and it might take us a generation or 2 or 3 for things just to even back out, so that now like we're not all dying of hepatitis again.
Oh yeah.
Like who knows what we'll start dying of if we don't have like all of the things that we have access to right now. If you just turned off the fucking diesel for a week, nobody would have medicine or food.
Yeah. Yeah, we're a lot more fragile than we like to think. Like our whole lifestyle, everything.
If 75% of the global population dies, and then we're in a nuclear winter, it's over. It's just over. So we can't do that.
People have this idea that like history is a march of progress, and it's like, no, like there are enormous setbacks, there are huge problems. There are times where centuries go by that pale in comparison to the advances of centuries prior. Like it would be easy for us to lose all this comfort that we have, and it's pretty scary. But
like things like warmth, having warmth in the winter would be a thing that from a bygone era. Like, that's the kind of like shit you're talking about with a full blown thermonuclear war. Watch a goddamn YouTube video called "What Happens If Everyone Shoots Their Nukes." You know,
I'm not watching that. That's scary.
I'm gonna send you like freeze frames.
Okay, send it to me.